Hello and welcome to Redshirt Cinema Club, a weekly podcast about fandom and watching movies with friends. This week we've reached my favourite Indiana Jones movie, The Last Crusade. Join us as we discuss Dan Brown, outdated modes of travel, and Venice. Ah, Venice. Alright, cheers. That's how we say goodbye in England. Hello and welcome to Redshirt Cinema Club. My name is Dave and I'm joined today by 700-year-old man Nathan Dighton.
Hello.
And the slime of humanity, Rob Pearson.
Where's that appear in the film?
What? Oh, are these meant to be things from the film? No, this is in the film. Sean Connery describes the Nazis as the slime of humanity.
Oh, Rob is a Nazi.
It could have been Adolf Hitler himself. That's what I had to choose between.
I'll go with slime of humanity, I think.
That's what I went with. I thought it was a bit more nondescript. Welcome to this week's episode where we have reached the third step in our adventure with Indiana Jones, his Last Crusade. My favourite Indiana Jones movie, at least before we started this harebrained idea, and a film from 1989 directed by Steven Spielberg. I have been very excited to watch this movie again. I have a lot of happy memories of it, and I've been excited to talk to you both about it and see how you found it, having already visited both of your favourites, Nath obviously with Raiders and Rob with Temple of Doom.
Yes.
So why don't we just start with everybody's kind of preconceptions of this movie, if they had any. What did you think of it beforehand, Nathan?
I always thought about it as my second favourite. And it's the one I can remember seeing adverts for. The others existed before I could remember anything. And I was sure I wasn't going to like it. I remember that when I was a kid. And then I remember thinking that was pretty good. And then as I've watched it, it's the one I've seen.
You weren't going to like it as a kid?
You aged like 7 or 8 at the time.
I think it's because I'd seen Temple of Doom and I was like, I don't know.
I really enjoy the thought of a 7 or 8-year-old you already deciding, no.
Don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Impress me, film.
Exactly. Spielberg's clearly betrayed the original spirit of these movies, Father. I don't know what's going on. No, it was more just like, I don't know, probably one of my friends said, it looks rubbish. And then I was like, oh, but it is rubbish. But yeah, I've always enjoyed it. I think I've only seen it 2 or 3 times, and maybe including this watch. Yes.
Okay. Rob?
I think this is the first time I've ever seen it all the way through.
Right.
I don't remember seeing the opening sequence with the young Indiana Jones before. That was completely new to me. I always remember it from just bits with Sean Connery, and the bit that always sticks in my mind is them going around the rotating fireplace. That's the only bit I remember, really.
Yes.
And
the stupidest part.
Lots of back and forth. That was my favourite part. Lots of back and forth where Sean Connery goes, Junior! And Indiana Jones goes, don't call me Junior!
Yeah.
And
it's like he's here.
That's all I remember, really. And
okay.
Just quite enjoying those bits and finding them quite funny.
Did you think, if you had to put the trilogy in order before watching them again, would you have thought you were likely to like it more or less than Raiders?
Probably I would have said I would have liked it less than Raiders.
Okay. Well, we won't find out about that until we get to our ranking episode, but I'm just intrigued. Well, I love The Last Crusade. I think all of us have an attachment to these movies based on when we watched them as kids, and I definitely saw this one the most as a kid, I think. Well, actually, I think I saw Temple of Doom the most, but this one I just love, and I have lots of happy memories of it as a kid, and I can't shake them. I watched it last night with a slack jaw grin on my face, enjoying every moment of it. I think that it is perhaps it's somewhere between Temple of Doom and Raiders in its tone, not quite as serious as Raiders. In not that Raiders is a very serious movie, but I think it's a bit more reverent of its topic than Last Crusade. A bit more fun than Raiders, but not as silly, in my opinion, as Temple of Doom, with loads of stuff going on. Obviously, it's a proper globe-trotting adventure this time. But we've got to start at the beginning. And I can't believe you haven't seen the beginning before, because
no, never seen it before.
I think it's unbelievable filmmaking, in as much as, obviously, it's just a great opening set piece in itself, but to quickly give you the origin story of many of Indiana Jones's things, i.e. his hat, the scar on his face, how he comes to use a whip, and perhaps slightly, becoming an archaeologist, or certainly having that drive to, it belongs in a museum, his catchphrase, it's all in there. And I think that it's unbelievable for doing that.
Is this his origin of his fear of snakes, or was he afraid of snakes? It's the
origin of his fear of snakes.
Before he fell in the big box of snakes.
They make that clear because very quickly the other guy, I can't remember what his name is.
The weak child.
The bugling man. He has a snake on his leg, and Indiana Jones picks it up and just goes, "It's just a snake," and he throws it aside. Then moments later, he will fall into a pit of snakes in a train, and he doesn't like that. Doesn't like that as much.
I think River Phoenix is brilliant.
He is brilliant.
I don't think I noticed because I was because he was only a little bit older than I was, and it's much harder to judge that kind of thing. But he's obviously doing a very good Harrison Ford.
Yes,
I really enjoyed it this time.
And the bait and switch, did you fall for it? Obviously, we're following these kids as they go on their, I don't know what they are, Boy Scouts day out, and we see a character who looks very like Indiana Jones ordering some guys, who are mining. It looks so much like Harrison Ford until it isn't, that I was certain that there was going to be a cut and they had actually used Harrison Ford, but they haven't. It's just a man with similarly impeccable 5 o'clock shadow, or maybe a little bit more than that, stubble. Yeah. And obviously he's got all the clothes. And as I said, it's the origin story of Indiana Jones. Somehow he becomes inspired by this man, but you didn't see that coming.
Well, no, I
you bought it. That's great.
I did buy it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted you to say.
Yeah, and then the other kid's like, Indiana. It's like, does he know who this guy is? Is he looking at Indiana Jones down there?
Yeah.
Oh no, the kid's Indiana Jones.
Yes.
What I enjoyed watching this time, obviously knowing who was Indiana Jones, is the rules established in the last couple of films where he is in shadow for several shots before he's revealed are also true of, both the fake Indiana Jones, but also River Phoenix as Indiana Jones. He kind of steps into the light.
Yeah.
At that moment, it's good, isn't it?
I don't know. I'm not getting the idea that you guys love this bit as much as me.
I thought it was very good, and I loved again the choreography of the whole running along the circus train.
Yes,
and just all of the different bits of act. Man, it's Uncharted's done all of the Indiana Jones beats, hasn't it?
Has.
In the third movie, it starts and you get like a little prologue into young Indiana Jones, or young Nathan Drake.
Yes.
Actually, no, that's the start of number 2. But the whole thing with his brother in number 3.
Mm-hmm.
4.
Number 4, yeah. Oh my God, yeah. And then just a big set piece on a train. But I really enjoyed how every train just had a different animal, a different obstacle to get over.
It's great.
I really like how there's always like a fight with the bad guys and then some other environmental obstacle going on at the same time.
Yeah.
And there's always a little bit of humour. When the rhino's horn comes up, nearly emasculates 2 men.
Yes. That guy is holding a knife. I sort of just realised this time, and it was kind of like, what, are you going to stab Indiana Jones?
The child.
Yes, a child. It was just like, struck me as particularly horrible, but he, that enjoyable bit when the rhino almost gets them, and they're like, it's not worth it, guys.
Sharpest rhino horn I've ever seen, I think.
Yeah.
They're typically quite blunt, aren't
It's
they?
because he's sharpening it by smashing it through the roof all the time.
Yeah.
I think the reason that, because I enjoy, I do like this opening, and I think that I enjoyed it this time more than ever. But I think, again, it's like a thing about having watched this movie only a couple of times, and first when I was a kid, is that I have like this sense of just negativity around the opening, because I think I was really sad that the one that his dad doesn't speak to him really and ignores him, and 2 that he loses. I just felt completely gutted by that as a kid. I think that.
What a great line though. You lost today, kid. Doesn't mean you got to like it.
Yeah, and that guy's the GOAT.
It's great. It gives him his hat.
What's the deal with that guy? He's a bad guy, right?
He's just I don't know how bad.
With begrudging respect for this.
The point is that he does say, like, Coronado's dead, all his grandchildren are dead. The point being, this is loot now. It's like, it doesn't belong to anybody anymore. So it's not, they found it fair and square, whether you agree with it or not. Indiana Jones's point is that it's of historical importance, and so it shouldn't belong to anybody. It should be, in a museum. But the the guy isn't a bad guy. He's right. It's like they did find it. And
I like that guy. Obviously, that racket isn't. They're villains. They're clearly villains. He's got a white suit and a cane.
That's the real villain. That guy there.
He's clearly a villain. But within that, you can have bad guys with a bit of charisma and a code. I mean, he doesn't. He doesn't want to. He doesn't have a knife. He doesn't want to stab a child.
No,
that's his young.
It's a good cut though, isn't it? When he puts the hat on him,
it's a great cut.
and it goes to Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
not liking it and then winning. I like that. It's the same. It's basically the same battle, isn't it?
And again, getting punched lots. Well, I think there's lots of that. I think that they do. I think the whole opening of this movie, and I'm including a little bit further on, is just again super efficient in terms of its storytelling. And obviously, we've talked about that whole origin story scene. But then, even when we come into the present day, there's lots of stuff in the script that will be, which are just nice when you watch this movie a lot. You know, so he obviously he wins the day, gets the cross and goes back to teaching, and the lessons that he's teaching. Two things that stood out to me in the lesson are that 70% of the archaeology is done in the library, and they're going to do some archaeology in a library, quite literally in Venice, and X never marks the spot.
I do like that.
And realistically, on a first watch of that movie, you're not. Maybe you get X never marks the spot and then X marks the spot. But I just think I like that stuff. I think it's for, I don't know who it's for. It's for the writer almost rather than for the audience, because I think you do have to see it a few times.
It's clever. I did, having watched the first film and then had that old kind of missive given to us that the movie plays out basically the same. If Indiana Jones isn't there, the Nazis open the Ark of the Covenant, they all die. It was similar to, I don't know who the guy is on the boat with the cane and the white suit. Yeah. But similarly, Indy could not be there. Obviously, he's got the cross in this instance, so that's good. But that guy's dead. Whatever happens, that boat is going down. So it's fun, isn't it? Just things happening around him.
Yes,
that felt especially Tintin for some reason to me this time.
I think it's the white suit.
Yeah,
doesn't he have like a red rose as well?
And a small dog and a Scottish man.
So many reasons.
I like being back at school. I like Marcus being there. I didn't really understand why everyone... Was it just showing again how popular he is because he's so handsome? Like all the people are like, I'm
not sure. I think he definitely is still popular with being handsome, but I'm not sure about I think they've got a test coming up. People are stressed. There's obviously there's a lot more guys in there this time as well. Yeah. They haven't made it quite so everybody who takes this class is a woman because they fancy Indiana Jones.
No.
But I like seeing his office, just a storage closet with a boiler room, boiler in it and a bunch of stones.
Do they recreate that in the game? It felt strangely familiar to me.
I don't think so. I've been wanting to go back and revisit the college in the game, having started watching these movies again to see how much of it is in there and what's in there, but I don't recall
installed it now. So.
Right, okay. You can reinstall things. It's possible.
It's the end for me.
It is possible. But I feel like there's a lot of it's interesting quite how much they go back to Raiders in this movie, in as much as Marcus is back in it.
Well, it's got all of the elements. It felt to me very much like there might have been a negative backlash to Temple of Doom, and that they just basically let's just play all the beats from Raiders again. Big action opening, then it goes to him teaching, then Marcus is there, some kind of, and instead of the Ark, this time it's the Grail, and there's Nazis.
Yeah, I think you're right.
All the hits.
I think you're bang on, and then also you and then the extra element in that kind of Hollywood sequel kind of style. What's the new thing? What's the scrappy do of this movie? And it's Sean Connery and Shakari, as he's called to Star Trek fans. And I guess it will play out over all the scenes that we're going to talk about. But I really, really enjoyed that relationship more than I had done before, and I think that the kind of deference that Indy shows to his dad is. The whole thing is gimmicky, isn't it? Let's get one of the other big action stars still alive today who can play opposite Harrison Ford to be his dad. And I think probably that him being James Bond was way more in the mind of people who were going to watch Last Crusade than kids who were going to watch Last. I mean, I knew he had been James Bond, but he seemed like an old man. Now, like I always remember the joke about him sleeping with Dr. Schneider to be preposterous as a kid, and now I'm like, of course, he's still quite good looking. Yes,
but they've definitely, I think, tried to make him a little bit not an ex Mr. Universe in this in this movie. Like just they've tried to just make him look a little bit older. Maybe even than he was, just in his like dress and stuff. Obviously it's set in the 1930s, so I think
his little hat.
I think it probably is quite believable that.
But the dynamic, it just works for me, and every from the very beginning with the scene with River Phoenix, you kind of think, how would you produce a character like Indiana Jones? And it just seemed like a distant father who taught him all these things, and he allows Harrison Ford to play up, and it is comic in a way which Raiders isn't, for instance, but his kind of emotional neediness in the scenes that we see between them is like just incredibly fun to watch.
Yeah.
Very, likeable.
It's interesting, I think, that Marcus is back and such a big part of this movie because, like I said, like I was trying to say, I guess, with it harking back to Raiders, it's like that. There's this huge warmth for Raiders, even though it wasn't that long ago, and there's only 3 movies, and he's not in the second movie, But it's like with Marcus and Sala coming back, it's like feels like this big return somehow, even though it's not like they've gone on a massive streaming adventure where people are like, oh, it's the guy from the first movie is back, and a much bigger part this time for him, which is very welcome to me, and I suppose slightly makes sense given that he's meant to be friends with Henry.
It's so
Henry
good.
Jones.
I mean, it's so much further in the film, but the scene where
in the tank.
He's so rubbish, and they're like children, and then they're just sat there the entire time in the tank after they've been reapprehended like naughty schoolboys.
Yes,
with their hands in their laps. It's really good. But we should talk about how Henry comes into it. And did you both immediately always know that is Julian Cope, isn't it? Isn't that Julian Cope is like a musician? I've gone crazy. Who is
Walter?
Yeah,
Walter Donovan.
Yeah, he's an English actor. My God, his name is Julian Glover. Julian Cope.
Right.
We record these too early in the morning for me to make any sense.
Can't cope.
He's obviously evil.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's hard for me to know how I feel about it because I know that he's evil. I think as a kid, I think I bought that he wasn't.
I didn't immediately think he was going to be evil, but then immediately, as soon as he was, I was like, oh yeah, of course he's behind it all. That's the other thing that it does with Raiders. It gives Indiana Jones like a well-to-do villain who's working with the Nazis.
Yeah.
It's also got a maniacal Nazi who melts.
Yeah.
It's true.
No, he doesn't melt, does he? He falls off the off the cliff in a
toy tank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I really thought was evil, where Walter was most evil, I thought was because he's got a relationship with Marcus because he's bought loads of things for the museum, and they must have been at parties and stuff. And then when they're in the Jeep later on, that was when I don't know, I just had a little thing of like, Marcus must be so upset. This man who is seen at parties and things.
I really liked how sort of fed up he was with Marcus when Marcus is just a nervous traveller, and he's just like, oh, when we get to Venice, how will we know? And he's like, just everything. Just go to Venice. Everything's been taken care of. I've got a flat. Dr. Schneider's there. I just really enjoy that Marcus as a character I really like, and him just sort of being like a little puppy around Walter who's just fed up with it all. It's like, just my evil plan will take place when you get to Venice. So
we're going to compare to Raiders a lot, I guess. The equivalent scene to my favourite scene probably in all of Indiana Jones, which is the two army intelligence guys and the scene with the big book and the rotating backboard and the talk about the Ark of the Covenant, is the scene in Walter's really nice apartment with discussing the Grail shield, and then an actual book made
Yes.
by somebody who had come into contact with two of the brothers from this legend, or one of the brothers from the legend. And I didn't think that scene was anywhere near as elegant or good as the scene which I really, really enjoyed in Raiders, which is, in a way, just made me think that scene in Raiders really is just like an all-timer. It's like great fun. And it made, this is all, I guess, Grail, these days, the whole Grail legend has been so Dan Browned that it's difficult to hear it without just thinking, God, this is a load of fucking bullshit. But, I didn't really care.
Yeah, I mean, I do think you're right. It is difficult to redo that scene and get anywhere
Has
near
anyone
it.
read Dan Brown's new book, The Secret of Secrets?
No.
Great
The
title.
Incredibly Secret Secret.
I haven't read it.
By Dan Brown.
Top secret. Secrets.
It's so easy to laugh at Dan Brown. I have read, I can't even remember what it was called. That's how, the big one about the
big
Grail.
one.
The Da Vinci Code.
Yeah. It was really readable, wasn't it? I read it in probably
That's the
3
trick.
or 4 days. And then at the end, I
It
forgot.
They made a
was-
movie.
It was a
Everything.
page turner.
It was a page turner.
A page turner.
I don't know. There's a lot of looking down the noses here at these Dan Brown's books.
Yeah. I
Why?
can see one of us is a big fan of Dan Brown.
No, I've not read any Dan Brown
Well,
books.
then let me and Rob look down on it. At least we've read one.
I think it's terrible.
Why?
Like you read and find out.
Is it because it's a page turner? Because you can read it in 3 to 4 days?
No.
You don't have to go and stand on a hill and think about it for 18 years.
Rob blinked at you in a very particular way when you said that.
Like some of his chapters could literally start with the phrase "meanwhile in the bad guy's lair," and it
Right.
would. That's the kind of tone we're going for. It's like something I would enjoy probably as a 12-year-old. Like, oh, it's the bad guy's bit. Now it's the good guy's bit.
Yeah.
Here's the next clue.
I'm
On
not
to
really.
the next clue. It's a Scooby-Doo movie. It's a Scooby-Doo story,
Yeah.
I used to love
but
Scooby-Doo
but more serious.
as a child.
Well, I haven't read it, so I
Okay,
can't.
it's a weird position for you to have taken up for Dan Brown.
Well, it's a very popular book, clearly, and I enjoyed the movies.
Yeah, did you?
I did. It's just, it's like a page turner, but a movie version.
Yeah,
isn't
minute
it? Just
turner.
you don't have to think.
It's a real minute turner. This
It's
one.
a real minute turner. There's no thinking required. It's got all the little bits I like, the sort
Ian
of
McKellen's
puzzles.
worst ever performance.
Puzzles.
Who is he in the Da Vinci
He's
Code?
He plays like Lee Tebbing, like the English guy, the guy who wants the artifact but turns out to be the bad guy.
Oh, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Do you see everyone chanting Ian McKellen's name at Glastonbury?
No,
He looks kind of surprised.
was Ian McKellen at Glastonbury?
Yeah, in a sort of a club environment, and everyone started shouting, "Oh, Ian McKellen!" Maybe he was
'cause
thinking
he
"It's
came on
Sir
stage
Ian McKellen."
with
Yeah.
the Scissor Sisters. That's why.
Oh, of course.
Oh, he's done that before, hasn't he?
I don't know. But
He's
yeah,
definitely done that before.
that's what happened. But yeah, why did we get onto Dan Brown?
because we were talking about the
Grail.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah, very, very good reason. And I think that scene is different because the dynamic is a bit different. Both the characters know the story, so they're just telling each other. They both have I think they both know everything that they're talking about. It's like going over old ground. And also, Indiana Jones isn't super excited about the Grail because it's his dad's thing.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised even that he just straight up kind of turns down the opportunity
Holy
of the
Grail.
adventure.
No thanks, mate.
I don't know whether that's out of some sort of sense of duty to his dad, where he's like, "You've got the wrong Jones. If you want someone to actually do this,
You need.
it's my dad," or whether he, it's just not his thing, and he hates the Grail because his dad was not available to him growing up because of it, or what. But I find that kind of interesting and quite cool.
Henry Jones is like Charles Cecil. I'm going to mention Charles Cecil again.
Yeah.
The real life Holy Grail seeker.
Yeah.
And creator of the Broken Sword series.
Yeah.
Just wanted to throw that out there.
Well, I wonder if Charles Cecil would agree. Does he have a Grail diary?
I think Charles Cecil does have a Grail diary. He certainly has like Grail stones. Also, he had those stones, didn't he? In his pocket.
Yeah. From a cave or
special
something.
Grail stones that bleed or weep or something.
Oh, I don't remember. I didn't know about that.
Water comes out of them if you rub them in the right way.
I think
Right.
if your stones are weeping, you're in big
Yeah,
trouble, Charles.
that's no good. I've said this before, but now we've actually seen it. I always wanted a Grail diary growing up, but I don't mean a diary containing the secrets of the Holy Grail, but just a diary that I loved so much that it contained little maps.
All
and
your
So
work.
Uncharted, isn't it?
It's so
It's
cool.
ridiculously uncharted.
that's such a thing in Uncharted, where he just is drawing and sketching things in his diary. Just the sound of it and the way that the game really makes note of how he thumbs through the pages. Yeah. And it's really interesting just to look through. And there are funny sketches he's done of Victor Sullivan and little jokes he's put in there.
Yeah.
But it is all just Indiana Jones the game.
Yeah. I really liked in Henry's house how you could just see on art on the walls that were bits and pieces from the Grail diary, that there was the leap from the lion's head on the wall, and I think there was maybe that stained glass window that they're going to find in Venice on the wall as well. Just
it's also the first room of many that we see which has just been turned over.
Yeah.
And I thought that when they got to Venice and their rooms were turned over, it was the first time, I mean, in a movie which is about going to find the Holy Grail and a huge temple which is carved into the face of a cliff, and steel blades which are still incredibly sharp 700 years after the event. And it was the first time in Venice when I was like, so she's just in the bathroom. And obviously it turns out that it's not true, but that Indiana Jones is kind of like, how did they do all of this to your room? And he's only next door anyway. How are they doing such thorough rummaging so quietly?
Yeah.
Did that bugger you? Oh my God. Did that bugger you guys?
It didn't bugger me. No.
Buggered me.
Well, no, to be honest, it didn't. But I can see what you're getting at. I mean, obviously she did it. Like he says, later on, she turned over her own room and I fell for it. So I didn't, I didn't really think about where they were, where he was next to his own room and it being turned over. Yeah, it doesn't probably make a whole lot of sense.
I didn't even remember that bit, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I saw this film last night.
Yeah.
I'm not going to.
That's not unusual for you.
No.
But
I just remember the big flashes. I don't remember, like the way you guys can remember everything that happened in a film scene by scene has always amazed me. I just can't do it. My memory doesn't work in that way.
I'm not sure that's true. We've sat here and listened to you recount for up to half an hour sometimes the events of Star Trek movies that we'd watched together. No response to that. Let's move on. Venice,
Venice
is where they go.
Venice.
I always wanted to go to Venice as a child, and I was lucky enough to go a couple of times thanks to my parents, who took us on camping holidays across Europe. And the reason I wanted to go to Venice was because when I was a child, about 9 years old, there was a McDonald's promotion where you could win holidays to like famous cities, and there was like it was all like quite bright colours with a silhouette, like to each like a symbol like that for each city. And the one of Venice, I believe, was like a gondola, and I just remember thinking, there's a real city, isn't it? Maybe I'd even seen Indiana Jones. There's a real city where it's all water. Amazing. Think about going there.
Birmingham.
It's Birmingham.
Yeah,
they didn't have that in the McDonald's.
There's more canals in Birmingham than in Venice. It's a fact I always enjoy bringing out.
Is that from IMDb?
I don't know where it's from. I don't know where I learned that. I don't even know if it's true. I just heard someone saying it once.
Yeah.
Do you know there's actually more canals in Birmingham than there is in Venice?
Yeah. It's all the other stuff in Birmingham, though, isn't it? All the other stuff in Venice. They
don't have the bull ring in Venice either.
They don't.
That's true.
No. I always remember during COVID how no one went to Venice, and the canals all became beautiful and dolphins
Didn't
were
some
there.
dolphins go in there?
Yeah.
We should just do that once a year, just 3 days. No one goes anywhere.
Yeah.
Just let everything be quiet and clean.
A mini lockdown.
That's a great
a
idea.
bit.
I would love to go to Venice.
Like the Purge, but the other way around.
But
it could be called the Purge. It could be called the Earth Purge.
It basically is a purge. I'd love to go to Venice, but also just don't think I ever will, because it seems to be...
It's very crowded.
Everyone says how expensive it is.
And the locals don't want people going there.
No,
anymore.
The locals don't really want you to go.
You've
I
got to
don't blame
give that
them.
up. Well, if you're living in Venice, it's over. Come on. I can understand it. If you're like... I don't know, if like you live in Cornwall and there's second homes all over the place and it's getting worse every year. If you're in Venice, it's over. What are you doing? Move out. Go somewhere else.
True.
It's happened. You're never de-touristing Venice. What else are they going to do? Make wine? They can't grow grapes on water.
I think their main issues are the day tourists that come in on the boats, which I nearly was one.
Yeah.
Going on holiday to Croatia and you can get a ferry from Pula to Venice. It takes like 3 hours.
Yeah.
You basically get to just arrive in Venice and then go back on your boat, and they don't like people coming over like that and not spending any money and clogging up the harbour and things.
Well, that's
and not
fair.
contributing to the local
Tax them.
economy and whatnot.
them.
That's where all the
Tax them.
protests happen.
Fair.
Kind of fair. It's hard to argue with.
I saw the Bridge of Sighs.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's good. Did you see the library?
No, actually.
And I wonder, is it a library?
Exact. Good question.
No idea. But this is. I mean, I'd love to go to this Venice. It's something super romantic. Obviously, I mean, Indiana Jones keeps saying Venice, but the lack of people. I don't know how they. How difficult it was to clear out Venice to film it here.
They probably shot it in Birmingham.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, way more canals. Easy.
Pretended it was Venice.
Much easier.
Yeah.
How does everyone? But I feel like one of the sort of differences we've had about Indiana Jones and the past two movies is the kind of where the film's tone, the humor of it can sometimes slightly overstep for one of us. Mm-hmm. Or how does everyone feel about the, I think, brilliant stamp joke in the library?
It. I like the humour in Indiana Jones.
I know you do. You like Temple of Jones the most.
Temple of Jones.
Yeah. Temple of Jones.
Indiana Doom. Temple of Jones. I really enjoyed it. Every time these films try and be funny, I think they succeed, and I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Was Indiana Jones deliberately doing it in time with the guy stamping?
No, my take is no. He's
plan?
just lucky. He's looking around like, I'm definitely going to get caught for this. And it just so happens that the librarian is stamping at the same time. The way he puts his stamp down at the end and just looks at it for ages, I think it gets me every time.
Also, how on earth has no one figured out this grand puzzle before? There's like a Roman numeral for a 3 and a 7 and a 10.
It's not really much of a puzzle either. It's just, I mean, I don't get how it works.
And it's just
what a 3 and 7
and on the floor.
That's the thing. When you go to a church, if you ever do like a walking tour of a cathedral or something, I went home to Rochester a couple of years ago, and you can do like an audio tour, and there's just stuff all over, but like people have just built different bits. There's repairs, there's markings, there's artwork, windows. I can see how that stuff would sit there for ages. There's like a million different, like if I was looking at every X written on, it's like 20 of them.
Well, also, if you're not looking for anything, you might go, oh look, there's 3 and a 3 and a 7 and a 7. I want a 10 and a 10.
I wonder what it means.
You're not going to go,
measurement.
We should dig this up.
I was a bit sad that he smashed the floor. I think.
Yeah, I do think that's a bit sad.
My takeaway this time.
That is a bit sad, but it's in a race against evil, Nath. So
that is true, and I guess he's looking for his dad. His dad might be in the floor.
Yes,
that's not quite how it goes.
And that is what he's doing, and I like that about this movie. Indiana Jones is always looking for his dad. Obviously, then he finds his dad and things change. But I enjoyed that. That's why he's on this. He is worried about his dad when he finds his house has been ransacked. He's already turned down the adventure once, and he is going to find his dad. Yes, that means following in his footsteps and trying to find the Grail a little bit, but
it does seem to me
that's Indiana Jones' Holy Grail, isn't it? A loving relationship with his father.
You could.
It did.
And you have.
To Rob's point earlier on about this film being the one that sets a formula or recognises a formula and then puts it back into action, the notes that it plays from Raiders again, which are different to Temple of Doom, are that Indiana Jones is more interested in finding the person that he cares about than he is about this artifact. And it's so much like the scene with the rocket launcher in Raiders, which is I don't care about the Ark. Just give me Mary, and then I think here it's when just after this scene. So there's the boat chase after the. We should talk about the rats because the rats are great. But he's asked by the guy from the Brotherhood, which is very ripped off in the Mummy. I realised. What you're looking for? He said, I'm not really looking for the Grail. I'm looking for my dad.
Yeah,
and it's true. And I thought, gosh, that is a note precisely from that other film. And it does, obviously, like, this is the third film, so there's been 2 Indiana Jones movies. I do think the second one was less successful and seen as a bit less fun by everybody at the time. Like, that was like the kind of memory I went into watching this for the first time with. But this is until it's outnumbered by other Indiana Jones films, I guess. And I think this is the one that does solidify by returning to so many of those elements from the first film. And it does seem deliberate. And I think that's why, his dad's there instead of Marion. That's the dynamic. Why was there petrol Why was there?
Yeah, just so they can set it on fire. I think that I'm not a big fan of this bit, especially him then deciding to light a torch using the petrol.
Yeah,
you can at some points you can literally see it dripping fire onto the petrol. And also when the fire is coming through the sewer or whatever it is, they've still got their torch, and it's like he just gives it to Elsa, and then at some point it's just disappeared because I don't, as soon as she touches
they have it underneath the
really?
sarcophagus.
Oh, I didn't.
I was like, we're going to go into our little protection with let's bring our fire. It is crazy, and also why are there so many like petroleum rats who just love petrol? And what are they all doing down there? Yeah. It's a strange place that they've invented there.
They definitely kind of got themselves into a corner there and used some movie magic to get back out again. It's just like, and let's just say they find a way out, and then they'll come out of the sewer into the square. And we don't need to know how that's happened. It's fine, and it is fine. But it's funny that that is very much like we'll just write that bit away. Don't worry about it. We just wanted a cool bit with the fire and the rats coming in. That was cool. But
there's so much throwing away of history in a way that makes me almost want to stop and just be like, oh God, like smashing through the floor and then walking through what would presumably have been an extraordinary historical find. The idea that he's like a serious archaeologist is just like disappearing by the second as he walks through that.
Turning over the sarcophagus, the body.
Even opening it's this one, whoomp, just pushing the lid off. Yeah, let's do it. Let's jump on top of this body and do a rubbing. And then,
he just wants to find his dad, man.
I guess that's true, I guess that's always the thing you can come
And he
back
hates
to.
the Grail, really. Hates it because his dad was obsessed with it. It's like, stupid Grail theory.
It is funny that they also talking about like playing the notes in the first film, they also do the whole... Before they set off, he says, Marcus, stuff about the Grail. What do you think about the Grail? And I just sort of want Marcus to go, you literally saw the Ark of the Covenant.
I did.
You saw angels.
I do agree.
What are you doing?
Well, near the end where he's like,
you didn't see them.
You've got to believe, boy, or whatever. And it's like, if anyone can believe.
It's going to be tough for me, Dad.
Indiana Jones is like one of the only people on earth who doesn't need to have faith because he's literally seen the power of God.
Well, he hasn't.
Or he hasn't seen it, but he's seen... he shut his eyes, opened them again, and everybody was gone. And there was a big loud noise.
All the Nazis just went home.
Yes, it definitely interesting that in some way this is definitely a sequel to Raiders, and we see that bit with the Ark, which I didn't hate.
Little bit of music.
Little picture. It's just, how can you be so sure? Pretty sure. I
really like that.
But he does seem to have forgotten that he's seen the power of God. Again, he hasn't seen it, but it's pretty sure that it exists. But they kind of do away with that notion a little bit.
So they're in the hotel, and the hotel has been turned over, and they're looking for the...
I wanted to just quickly mention on the boats. First of all, go between them. I always loved that bit.
Yeah.
But then the propeller, just because it is quite like the propeller of Raiders, I suppose. Once again, there's a fight happening next to a big propeller. Somehow they've managed to do it again in this movie. I find a different propeller, which is offering a slightly different jeopardy. And I always did find that bit quite terrifying. The boat just getting eaten up behind them, and that guy is so
ready.
Yeah, he's so ready to die. You gotta love that.
He's got the zeal.
Yeah,
he beats Indiana Jones there, doesn't he?
He does.
You're running out of time. No, Dr. Jones, you're running out of time.
But they become friends because he says, "I might, God be with you on your quest to find your father." I don't know how he knows he's being held at the castle of Brunwald, but it doesn't matter.
And why doesn't he say also that lady is bad?
Oh, by the way, she's one of the bad. She's one of the bad people.
She's with the Nazis,
but they don't know that. And the hotel they look at the rubbing. Yeah. I'm sort of surprised he doesn't just do this in the sewer. It would be the only thing I just need the name of the city. But they look at the rubbing and we find out. I found this bit exciting. This is a little bit like that scene in Raiders. The sort of with more like the excitement for the plan, the excitement of the information having been found, and using the Grail diary. He had a map. He had everything except the name of the city, Alexandretta. I love the excitement there, and the plan comes together, and Marcus is off to I've forgotten where it is now in the real world.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Somewhere hot. Somewhere in the Middle East.
Yeah. And
Where is this where he goes to blend in
Yeah.
as a master of languages and culture?
Yeah. One of my favourite cuts.
I like that bit, yeah.
It's
very good.
It's so good. I try and do that monologue from time to time.
And that cut comes at the end of the castle scene? Yes, it does.
Yeah, so they've gone... I don't know why Elsa... I think I probably can pick quite a few holes in some of these bits. Elsa's just gone with Indiana Jones to Castle Brunwald, even though she knows what's there, and she must be like, well, where's Marcus going?
I guess it's because she's trying to get the Grail diary.
Yeah, I suppose she's just got to follow the Grail diary. That's the kind of thing that they really want, obviously.
Yes.
And we get to see Indiana Jones doing a Scottish accent, or Harrison Ford doing.
Is that what he was trying to do?
Ooh.
My God, it was bad.
It's not great.
It was.
And
poor.
I thought it was quite fun in as much as surely there's like a kind of a nod to... There's like a fun thing with it being Sean Connery in the movie. Like surely something that he would be annoyed about, or would go, that is terrible. Like there's just a fun thing about getting Harrison Ford to do a Scottish accent.
It sounded more Russian than Scottish.
He's definitely Scottish. Because the butler says, if you're a Scottish lord, then I am Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, it's poor, isn't it? And the butler's correct.
Yes.
And you would think that having been in the movie brought up by a Scottish man who isn't pretending not to be Scottish for once, which I enjoyed, that Indiana Jones would be better at this.
It's not the worst accent in the movie, though.
I think it is. I actually think it is.
I don't.
What is?
I think it's Alexei Sale.
What?
Alexei Sale's accent.
No, he's perfect.
Who's that?
He's the king of the country where the Nazis need to go through.
The one who likes the car.
Yes. He does a little monologue about the car, and he just slips into sort of his normal accent at one point. Just
He's, Alexei Sale, he's like a comedian from Liverpool that you sometimes might see. He's like in the he had like a rivalry with Ben Elton in the 80s, but I think they worked on The Young Ones together. And
I don't really know of him other than the name slightly rings a bell.
Big left-wing comedian. It's very much, you could see again how Omid Jalili gets his part in The Mummy, and it's kind of like a bit of it's very similar casting in a way, except probably Omid Jalili is actually his family's from the area, and I don't think Alexei Sales is. I think it's much worse casting.
Yeah,
in this instance,
and a worse accent in my opinion. And we finally get to the Jones boys getting together, and I do think this is. My love of this movie really does boil down to their relationship. I think that they're so good together on screen. I think that the arc of their relationship is so nice and fun, and I love the dynamic of Indiana Jones being reduced back down to a boy who's a little bit intimidated by his dad at times. Yeah. Finding some of that love from his dad that he really seeks. His dad realizing he's not been a great dad in some ways. I think it's got all of this stuff. Why are you laughing?
I just remember the scene where he's like, I was a fantastic father.
Yeah. Well, what do you want to talk about?
I don't know. Well, what's your problem then?
I lost you, boy.
He's a funny mix of tenderness and timidness, but also like there's a real stern and a distance to him as well.
Yeah,
he's an interesting character, that Henry Jones.
They're so funny together as well. The very first thing, I don't know. I love this movie and I love this relationship. Like he comes in through the windows, get hit on the head by a pot. And he's like, I thought you were one of them. He's like, they come in through the doors, Dad.
That whole scene's great. The whole the staging of it with Sean Connery close to the camera, both of them looking at the camera, so you can see everything that Harrison Ford's doing, and Sean Connery can't see it, and the double bluff of the thank God,
yeah,
and he looks so happy that his dad cares about him, and then it's a fake.
That
a fake.
That little bit of dialogue there Really good. I don't know what it's called. Is there a specific term for that, where two characters are talking about different things, but it's written in such a way that it works for both of them to believe that they each are talking about the thing they're talking about?
It should have a name. Probably does. It is a great. It's a great
trick.
thing. Yeah, and again, perhaps slightly annoying that then Indiana Jones gives up the ghost, the game. I don't know, just because. To save Elsa, even though his dad is right there going, he should. I mean, he could be a bit more forthright about it. I think.
thought that this time.
She's literally a Nazi.
Yeah, I've slept with that woman.
Yeah,
she is a Nazi.
I promise you. Just don't worry about this. But that's not what happens, and hilarity ensues. And I got the impression, Nathan, you're not a big fan of the turny fire door.
I don't. It's so good.
I don't hate it. There's an element of farce to the whole thing. I tell you, before they got to the confrontation with Elsa, the Don't Call Me Junior scene, and the kind of escalating, it's getting madder and madder, and he grabs a machine gun and shoots them. And Sean Connery's constant response to being in sort of life or death action situations is a joy. It's so
yes,
good.
I thought. Is it then? I think it's later on where he's. Maybe it is then. It's then. I can't believe. Look what you did. Yeah. I love that he can't believe his son has just shot these guys, and it's great.
Well, it's almost like the Uncharted. People do that kind of like just how many people has Nathan Drake, this affable adventurer, murdered?
Yeah,
and it's kind of like that, but with Indiana Jones, you get that joke much earlier.
And is there something, I guess, in 1989 also funny about the fact that Sean Connery has fairly recently been James Bond?
Yeah,
murdering lots of baddies,
right? And
just seeing Sean Connery be shocked at people getting shot.
In
the film.
He's
must be just quite funny.
Against
time. It is funny.
We
have the Walter reveal as well. I don't know. This is the first time I've noticed that they all go into this big hall where eventually they will be tied up and it will catch on fire. And they're talking to Elsa and I think it's Obert or something, or anyway, they're sort of Nazi general, and Walter is just sat in a very high-backed chair, like proper like evil guy. He's sat there. You can't see him. Someone goes over to give him the Grail diary or something, I think, and then he gets up and reveals himself. It's very theatrical and a little bit silly, and he's just waiting for it's because it's so theatrical. He's like, I'm going to obviously reveal myself now. It's a big moment. When am I going to do it? And I need a line, and like, why did you trust her? And then he's like, this is it, because he didn't take my advice. He's like, yes, thank you. I've got my opportunity to reveal myself.
It reminded me of the first scene with Walter when they're describing all the crowd, because the real way that would go is, I'm really afraid I was working with your dad and he's gone missing. Do you know what I mean? And that's the whole scene. And instead it's like the whole thing is set up. Oh, it's funny, finally, after 5 minutes, you've mentioned your father because he was the man that I hired.
Yeah, that's right.
But he has to wait for
the project leader.
Yeah. Our
was
project
your father.
Leader.
Dun, dun, dun.
You don't know the guy, but yes. So they go to, how do they escape? Oh yeah, everything goes on fire.
Yeah.
And they run away.
They do run away, and it's like
we've got to talk about the fire.
Well, yeah,
the fire bit's great.
It is great.
Excuse me, especially the bit I thought it was the best shot in the entire film is when there's a bad guy with Indiana Jones on the rotating grate. It rotates away. You hear a punch sound effect while Sean Connery is looking at the camera. Oh God! Yeah. He goes around again, and then it's just the bad guy who's been punched out.
Yes,
it's brilliant.
It is brilliant.
Is so good.
I think I didn't appreciate either the fun this probably would have been to have seen it at the time, especially if the memories of James Bond were very kind of clear in your mind, because he is not a field man, I think is how Indiana Jones describes him. He's so completely, he just shouldn't be in this situation. He, obviously he drops the lighter, he burns himself, drops the lighter, then ends up like trying to blow it out, turns this whole thing ablaze. It's a calamity of errors, and it's like, it's extra funny when you think of it as James Bond being quite useless. I love the way that he's got his back against the door at one point, and that turny fire door, and he tries to go through it and it goes the other way, and he's just completely out of his depth, and is just a passenger in all this action that's taking place. It's really, really well done.
This is actual acting from Sean Connery in this film.
Yeah.
And I've never really thought of Sean Connery as an actor or a particularly good actor.
Yeah.
Like I actually saw him doing some actual acting here.
Yeah,
I've never really thought of him as James Bond. I would just think he's just playing himself. Oh, that's just Sean Connery.
Yeah.
That's what he's like.
I know what you're saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
like he's. I think he's got that presence, and he's a confident, good-looking guy. And then it's just really fun. I think in playing against type, you kind of see how much timing he's got and how fun he is or can be. I think he's great. Obviously, I thought he was brilliant in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, released just a couple of years after this.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves for a while. It did make me think it's interesting that he was on the Crusades in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Oh.
And in this film, he's someone obsessed with the Crusades.
Yes.
Interesting.
That would be on IMDb trivia, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
32 of 280 people found that interesting.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. I think we should do that ranking more like as we say things about films. We should be. Oh, sorry, Rob. Only 40 people out of 97 found that interesting.
I love how he does. Yes, he is inept in the field, but also he does several times find the solution, even by accident. Obviously, the first thing is he sits in that chair, which lowers the staircase, and that's he's got all these little lessons that he's always doing. Oh, I often find if I just sit down and think, the solution presents itself. Obviously, there's a kind of a real turning point when he destroys a plane using the power of nature. And
is that before or after he shoots the tail off their own plane?
That's after he shot the tail off their own plane. And
he just never admits to it.
That's the
sorry.
best thing.
We've been hit.
Yes, exactly. There's a little rug pull there because he apologises. You think he's going to own up, and then regard us. But this whole bit, I really enjoy how he is so unimpressed by Indiana Jones because that's what's different about their relationship and this dynamic is usually we're seeing Indiana Jones just somehow sticking it all together and pulling off the impossible and being incredibly heroic. And here he is doing those same things in his motorbike and sidecar. He sent the Nazis off on a boat. They think they're on a boat, but they escape, and he's quite pleased about that. Then there's all those guys on the bikes, and one by one he kills them, and he jousts one cyclist to death. And every time Indiana Jones is quite pleased with himself, and he looks across at his dad, who's just like winding his watch, or is just literally looking at him just like, do you think that's good? It's not good. It's not good at all.
His little bag.
And it's such an interesting dynamic. It's such a clever thing to bring to this movie where we're usually just going, wow, he's just so great and heroic.
I think I've mentioned so many times how many in all of our podcast watching, how many filmmakers seem to use the device of another person in the scene telling you a thing by reacting in a certain way, and this is an interesting variation.
But we've only ever talked about, I think, oh my
God, he's the strongest man I've ever seen.
It's always been super impressive. Like, this is amazing. Tell me this is amazing, and this is the opposite, which is such a funny.
What does the little mouse guy say about Neo in the Matrix, Rob? His brain is off the charts.
Look at these neurokinetics; they're way above normal.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, he's fast.
Yeah.
And he gets slapped from Sean Connery for that.
He would.
Yeah, that's right.
Stop being so neurokinetic.
Yeah.
And then we're in Berlin.
Yeah. This is an interesting choice.
I think that this is as close to... I mean, why is it funny? The guy who played Hitler.
Yeah.
Do you recognise that guy? I looked him up because I recognised him from one thing, and I thought
I didn't recognise him, and I also thought, like, no one wants this part.
Well, this guy loved this part.
Okay.
This guy's a Scottish actor called Michael Shared, and Michael Shea played Hitler 5 times.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And he played...
Anyone got Hitler in there?
Yeah. Well, anyone World War II?
His CV is just why I'm good at Hitler.
Yeah.
Well, he was also good at Himmler. He played Himmler 3 times.
I like Himmler not so much. I can do a Himmler.
I do believe he played Goering the one time as well.
We have to watch.
sake.
We've got to watch Downfall maybe at some point because I've never actually seen that film.
Oh, you haven't?
All
You've
I've
just
seen are the memes.
The memes.
See, I saw Downfall, and then I've seen several films with the guy who played Hitler since, who was a very kind of successful actor in Germany forever, and I guess now is cursed in the West to mostly just be a meme. But Bruno Ganz, yeah, he's fantastic. I watched Wings of Desire a couple of weekends ago. What a movie.
I don't think I'd ever be able to watch Downfall now. The Killzone meme, that's the best one. You've seen the Hitler doesn't want to believe that Killzone 2 is good bit.
No.
Yeah, that's really good.
Where he's like, oh, Himmler, you'd better not buy Killzone 2. And Himmler's like, don't worry, I would buy Killzone 2. I also agree that it's rubbish. And then there's the dinner scene where they're giving him the little bit of paper. He's like, it appears Himmler has bought Killzone 2.
Let me tell you
one.
some other things about Michael Shea, though. He played Mr. Bronson in Grange Hill. That's why I.
Oh, wow.
That's why I knew him. Just an angry.
Now, he's
teacher
Hitler.
figure. Well, I think there was like this period in the post-war where British character actors could either play actual Nazis because there was just constantly things being made about the Nazis, or echoes of Nazis in Grange Hill.
Right.
But also he's. So is it General Nader is when he
in
comes
Star Wars?
Yeah, but when he in Empire Strikes Back, I think when he assumes a position, the Admiral Ozzel or whatever his name is in the background, who's failed Vader for the last time.
Yeah,
that is Michael Shea as well. That's
right.
Hitler being choked out in the background.
That's brilliant.
And Nader just sort of looks at him like fucking hell.
Oh wow, yeah, I can kind of see that now.
And also he was the U-boat captain in Raiders of the Lost Ark as well.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, it's kind of.
Two
Has anyone
Indiana
ever
Jones
questioned
movies.
this guy? Why are you always playing Nazis?
Well, I guess it's just what work there was. And it's, if you're a stern-looking middle-aged character actor in
once you've played one,
1970s,
I guess you've got a good casting agent. They go, oh, he's done Nazis before.
Oh, he's been Hitler.
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
been
He
Hitler
looks great in
loads.
grey. Really good.
He was I think the first time he was Hitler was in a movie called Rogue Male, which is it's got Peter O'Toole in it, but it's from a book about it's a very strange book about a guy who just takes it upon himself to go and assassinate. I think in the book, it's like unidentified dictator of a Central European power, but I think in the film they're just like Hitler in it, the spanky Hitler. And then the other one, Rob, which you might enjoy, is that I think he played a resuscitated Hitler in an episode of Doctor Who.
Wow.
I believe.
I've probably seen that.
It kind of wakes up.
Was it one of the
dramatically.
old Doctor Who's?
Yeah.
Oh, I've not seen that then.
Resuscitated Hitler. Great day at the office.
Because Hitler's in that episode. There's literally an episode called "Let's Kill Hitler" in the Matt Smith run.
Yeah, I think that he was very old at that point.
I think he's just locked in a closet, isn't he? Hitler
Hitler.
in that. Yeah, I can't remember exactly what happens.
Yeah, that's a very silly episode. I saw it last year again while we were watching stuff.
I didn't.
That's Hitler.
As a kid, I didn't really understand what was going on here.
No,
because I didn't have the historical knowledge yet about why they were burning books, why that made Elsa really sad, exactly who the guy who signs the book was. I think even though he signed his name, I was just kind of
Mr.
like
Bronson from Grange Hill.
I was like, he must be an important man. I think.
I love how basic his signature is.
Yes, I know.
Adolf Hitler.
I wondered if that was the sort of a joke because he was a terrible artist.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And he signed it right on the map, I think, where they should be writing Alexandretta. I think he's just written Adolf Hitler on the map in the
That's
Grail
so
Diary.
good.
I think I have got I had the advantage of watching a lot of these movies with my dad, who liked a lot of the slightly confusing jokes. He just really enjoyed, and I sort of remember him either explaining to me or just saying out loud, "Oh, that is good because that's Hitler." It's not exactly what my dad said, but not dissimilar to that.
Did you say Junior? That's Hitler. Yeah, and it's I think that I find it quite powerful this time. Just the burning of the books, the hatred of it, and her tears, the tears in her eyes. It's like
I feel like they're doing a balancing act with her, because the idea is that she's not a what would be the word? Not like a signed up kind of, not a zealot,
she's not a believer.
No, but is one of the Germans, or is she Dutch? Anyway.
I thought she was Austrian.
Austrian.
Oh yeah, of course she says she's Austrian about 5 times.
She says goodbye in Austrian.
Yes, and
that's a great bit.
But signed up to the party for because it fits with their, and I guess a bit like Belloch and Walter. But with people within Germany, so a particular sort of person who didn't get let off lightly in the sort of the recriminations after the war.
Yeah,
but they have to also balance the fact that she's going to hang around right until the end, and that Indiana Jones doesn't simply detest her.
Yeah,
and I guess that her being a bit sad in this scene is part of the way that they achieve this.
Yes, she's got some humanity.
And she was sad when they shot Henry as well.
Yeah, shocking.
She
Very
is
sad at that point.
And she suggests that they don't kill the Jones men.
Yeah, the Jonesmen.
She finds a kind of loophole there. We're like, well, if we don't get the diary back, then maybe we should keep them alive.
We have skipped over as well the point where Walter gets just like a telegram from Hitler himself.
Yes.
Which says, oh yeah, kill Indiana Jones. And trailers are cut. Now, I'm sure there are lines written for trailers, right? And I would be as confident as any that this is one, because I've seen it in so many trailers. Germany's declared war on the Jones boys.
Yeah.
And it's stuck straight into the train.
That's in there. Yeah.
It's a great line.
With the burning books thing, I also enjoy later on Sean Connery's line when he's getting slapped by that German,
in the tank
general, and he's like, what does the Grail diary tell you that it does not tell us? And he says something like, it tells me that Nazis like you should spend time reading books instead of burning them.
Yeah,
which is a great little
fuck
line.
you.
Yeah,
other English actor.
That's right. Yeah, well, actually Sean Connery's Scottish, Nathan. You're going to be killed now.
Oh, actually I was going to say Michael Shared, because all the Nazis, but he's
also Scottish. But yeah,
fine.
And now we come to the Zeppelin.
Yes.
I would never like to ride a Zeppelin.
No. Well, when was the Hindenburg disaster?
A little bit after this, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Was it before?
Is this the Hindenburg? Or that's...
Maybe.
I don't know what the vibe was.
It seems mad. It's always seemed mad to me, especially when I was a kid. I was like, that, not the Hindenburg disaster, just Zeppelins. I was like, surely this was this isn't real. No one ever travelled around by a giant balloon. Surely. I can't believe that it's real. I mean, and the scale of them is insane.
Yeah.
Because the amount of lift, the amount of gas they have to hold to actually lift. It seems crazy to me that this was like an actual functioning thing that people did.
It feel like something out of like an alternate reality steampunk sci-fi video game.
Hugely. And obviously the Hindenburg disaster happened, and I think that just proved that. I don't know whether I should find out. I don't know whether they just fell out of favour then. People were like, oh, I don't fancy it. Or whether they...
I don't fancy it. I think over 2/3 of the people on board survived the Hindenburg disaster.
It wasn't
like a... I think so.
Is it really a disaster at that point?
It's just like...
it's pretty bad.
An annoyance.
It's pretty bad. But then maybe in like 100 years' time, people will be like, I can't believe we used to fly around in just massive things made of metal.
Yeah.
And that if it crashed, then you definitely died.
Yeah, well, I do feel a little bit like that anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether it's that. Yeah, they just didn't like it anymore, or whether they just found that the technology was completely flawed. Because I think it was like a static. What happened was that the balloon just had loads of static. The friction of the air going past it caused it to be charged, and then as soon as the mooring rope hit the ground, it created a spark, and that.
It's funny that how many times in the kind of the development of new technology and transport, you'll start with something which is just about possible, like, oh, this would be good. It's really expensive maybe, and it's quite impractical, but then it gets better and better. Like the underground trains in London were initially incredibly, like there was no way of like ventilating the tunnels. That were like, you get soot all over you. They were really dark. They were really noisy. They were like shit.
Yeah.
I can imagine going down there and going, fucking hell, this is shit. I'm never doing this again.
Well, we do that now.
Yeah.
And I'll be doing that later today.
And I guess the the only way that you figure out, or that it gets better eventually, that you get to the point where you don't go, Jesus Christ, why the fuck were we all flying around in those giant exploding balloons?
It's like when you make a house in Minecraft for the first time. It's just square and made of mud.
I've never done that.
No.
I've never made a house.
That is what it would be like, though.
What's
but
your
also
latest house
That's
in
what it would be
Minecraft?
like the 100th time.
I just watched my daughter building stuff in Minecraft. I remember her very first building. It was just a square mud hut.
Shit.
And now she builds these fancy,
You proud of yourself?
elaborate mansions with,
horses.
Really, loads of horses. Just a new stable all the time. A new world and a new stable, but just really elaborate.
Yeah.
And that's what it's like, isn't it? It's just like that.
Yeah, it's exactly that. That's what they were thinking.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love this scene just because of the joke. The joke is in English, even though it should be in German. I think that's fine.
Well, is it? Yes, yeah. I mean, he is saying it in German as well, but obviously, yeah, he says
payoff.
specifically to that guy.
Well, when he to the crowd.
Yes, then he turns to the crowd and says, no ticket.
No ticket.
Yeah. But also, as we know from our own lives, everyone else in the world is so good at English.
They don't mind.
I believe it. And, as soon as one person gets their ticket out, if one person understood it, I'd be like, oh, yeah, it's fine. I also love this scene. I think I've read a comment.
I really would enjoy if on Great Western Rail, this is how it happened. Just like a window being opened.
Ejected.
And guys just getting
Just
chucked out.
Straight out.
Didn't have a ticket.
Yeah.
As someone who always pays for their ticket, I agree, Rob.
Same. But also, should he have been given the option to buy a ticket there and then?
The German general.
Yes, exactly.
Single to
Yeah, where are we going?
Berlin.
Yeah, it's a good bit. I really like his ill-fitting ticket man's uniform, which I only really noticed this time. It's way too small. They've done that joke before.
Yeah.
And I talked about, in the game, disguising Indiana Jones being quite a thing, and I was like, is that a thing? And I noticed in this movie it happens a lot. I think he wears like 3 or 4 different disguises in this movie. It's definitely part of his.
He never really does anything with the disguises, though. Like in this one, he just immediately reveals pretty much to the German general, "Hi, it's me, Indiana Jones."
Well,
I'm
he's
just
not
wearing
gonna,
this.
He's not going to fall for it, is he? He's looking for them specifically, and he's already found his dad. So he just needs to just to carry off enough to say to other people, "Tickets, please."
We have skipped over the Marcus Brody smash cut.
Yes, we did.
Was,
it's because we kind of spoke about it. It is just brilliant. It's just
it's the
comedy
thing
genius.
I remember me and my friends talking about just over and over and over. I don't know. I guess were American kids talking about this on the playground?
I don't know.
Probably not.
I think
this is the most British bit of this movie. This is great.
Both of them sell it so well. like Harrison Ford's monologue.
Yeah.
He's got 2 days head start, which is more than he needs. He'll blend in. He knows every culture, speaks 18 languages, has friends from here to. It's just like he absolutely sells it. And then just, does anybody speak English? Hello, excuse me.
Reminds me of my dad when his brother, my uncle, was in like a motorcycling accident in France, and my dad had to phone the French hospital. I was like, it's all right, I can speak French. On the phone, he was like, hello, hello.
Oh, God.
I am looking for mon frère.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, the English.
It does happen.
Yeah.
It's
Speaking English slowly and in an accent.
It had
the
a
same
side.
as speaking a foreign language.
It made me think a little bit of Michael Palin. Michael Palin is not a klutz or a bit of an idiot like maybe Marcus is, but that.
Oh, you mean his travel program?
His travel programs, yes, specifically. I was just. It made me think of Around the World in 80 Days.
Yeah.
Just him in.
There's a smile and an
A foreign
openness
land.
with Palin, which opens so many doors.
Yes.
It's very good.
Yeah. It is great, and I just enjoy the whole run bit as well. We get to see, this is John Rhys Davies looking his most like Gimli, when he follows Marcus into you know, what he thinks is a shop or something, or he stands outside the shop and he turns around and he puts his fists up.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh my God, he looks just like Gimli at this, this moment.
He plays Gimli.
No way.
Yeah.
That explains it.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Like him.
And not that long,
He's
like
only 10
years
away
later?
from filming Lord of the Rings probably at this point.
Yeah, exactly, which I thought was funny.
Halfway to Gimli.
It was also kind of nice. This is again Raiders. That's exactly what happens in Raiders, but this time the bad guys do it.
Yeah.
Literally running into, or
Imagine
in Raiders they drive
Nazis
into, don't they?
Setting up a stall.
Yes, I
Getting
know.
a little truck out.
It makes no
decorating
sense.
It.
Makes no
It
sense.
makes no sense.
Can't have happened. Didn't happen.
No.
But I do
But
enjoy
also
it.
did.
Yes. Also, the guy who comes to get him is a little bit like the Gestapo guy from Raiders as well.
What are we talking?
yeah. Papers, please. But yeah, Rob, do you enjoy the Zeppelin scene?
Yeah.
With no ticket.
Yeah, I did enjoy that. Yeah,
No, good. Because I
Enjoyed
think
it a lot.
I think I read a comment about someone was just sort of belittling it as
It's very silly.
it's a silly. Yeah, it
it's
is
silly. But then these films are silly. These films are just silly, funny, fun films
well, maybe you're right.
with bits of adventure.
Maybe
wrapped
you're right.
around it.
There's a heart in this film which I don't think is. There's a literal heart in Temple of Doom.
Yeah, you
which
see
is
it.
part of my problem. But
Yeah.
it was quite divisive. There was a couple of quite upset comments. One, the guy cancelled. He cancelled his membership
Oh, really?
the week after. Yeah. And
Because we didn't like Temple of Doom, or well, you and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
as much.
Yeah. And the comment.
But Rob loved it.
The comment was
Get him back.
Well, the comment was about me and you, Dave. The comment was angry at our response to Temple of Doom and presupposing that we would be hypocrites this week and that we wouldn't
Right.
have problems with several scenes which are silly,
Including
And
the Zeppelin scene.
he didn't point out.
okay.
Didn't point out. The author seemed animated.
Yes.
And wasn't necessarily expressing or punctuating themselves in the ways they might normally.
We will only accept grammatically correct criticism.
Exactly.
Okay, that's
and
important.
even then,
Yes, we reserve the right.
Why not accept it?
Not to.
But I do think it's. It's fair enough to say those things. I think wait till we've watched the film, and now having watched the film, I do still feel the same. I enjoyed Temple of Doom. I do think that it's different, in terms of what the Last Crusade has, which I think Raiders had, is a more convincing emotional through line. Like, again, maybe it is just the same thing. Maybe it's just an echo in terms of finding, saving Marion and saving his father, but it can deviate into silliness and have moments of levity, but then be pulled back. There's grounded by how much Indiana Jones wants to save his dad, and then obviously that's heightened in the very last scene when his dad is in mortal peril. And I don't think there's anything which strikes me in the same way in Temple of Doom. I really enjoy Short Round, but he's never used in the same way, and the relationship isn't quite developed in the same way.
No.
My piece on that.
Yeah.
I've said it.
Yeah, I just what they said.
Yeah.
What they said. I think.
Is it that Indiana Jones? Is it the heart of the films that Indiana Jones needs to realise that the material objects that he is coveting can never be a replacement for the human relationships that are the most important thing. Like he realises with Marion in Raiders, and he realises with his dad here.
Definitely.
And in Temple of Doom, he's got no one to realise it with, apart from Willie, who everyone hates, apparently, who I thought was really good.
And not just that, but I think in Temple of Doom, the stakes are just situated differently, such that that stone really is very important to that village. So it is the most important thing. So they find it. And that's not as satisfying as realising what I think something about realising that the treasure that you're looking for is not as important as the thing you might already have or might already have had, and therefore the journey is kind of illuminating in that way. But it also plays on the stuff which, again, Uncharted has kind of taken wholesale from these films, which is playing on the idea of the ambiguity of the supernatural or the divine, and I guess that lack of certainty about those objects. These films wouldn't be exciting, like Temple of Doom, really, if it just said, "Oh, those things, they're magical." And this one basically does say that. There's a 700-year-old knight, and he saves Dr. Jones. So it does kind of, it does remove. But I think those things are
only at the end, though.
I think yes, and I think those things are related. That the treasure isn't the be all and end all, and also all the way through you're being teased around the veracity of the adventure that you're on.
There's a great line at the end when he asks his dad what he discovered, and he just says, "Illumination." Is that what he says? Is that the line?
Illumination.
It's just a great way to write. It's very good writing, I thought.
Yeah.
Because these days, in a Marvel film, it would be just overtly said, "Well, what I discovered was, I love you, son."
Yeah.
That's what they'd say, and it'd be rubbish.
Do
He
you know,
says that, but in a good way.
and even in the moment, we're jumping around now, but the moment after the tank scene, which we've spoken about, when just for a few moments, a little bit cheap, Indiana Jones seems to have died in an accident, Viggo Mortensen style. And even then, I felt like that moment is kind of saved from a bit of mawkishness from the line, 5 minutes would have been enough.
Yeah.
Which I thought was just hit home in a way that just like, I was going to sit down and chat to him about loads of stuff. Like that sentiment is relatively familiar to me, but just how quickly he could have done it and how simple it seems. And just the idea of time. I guess they're being specific about it. It's just interesting.
It's such a great line. Yeah, I can't exactly put my finger on the power of it, but
the way he delivers it,
it makes it.
He really is very good in this film.
It makes it seem like what he wanted to say would be so easy to say, I suppose, and still so important. I haven't told him anything.
Yeah.
5 minutes would have been enough. It's great. And then they have that great hug, and you see Indiana Jones just like, I really need a lovely hug. And then he's just dropped on the floor. And I really like to start, this is, the shift I like seeing is Henry Jones starting to become the adventurer. He's like, right, come on.
Yeah.
We've got to go. We haven't got time to be resting. But yes.
And again, similar we've talked about, I think, with Uncharted, just that no matter where you go in these never before encountered places, the bad guys are either there already and they've put up some lights, or they're just behind you. And in this instance, they are. I guess because they had the map, but they're already.
Just every time in Uncharted, in a spooky place that's no one's been in for 1,000 years, and you're deep underneath, and you just hear like a big explosion from up top. They've arrived. The bad guys have arrived.
Identical
in their trucks with all their explosions.
All their kit.
Is this Petra they filmed at here?
It is, but I don't want to get there quite yet because I do think we've got to talk about the tank scene. It's a huge action set piece, and we talk about the geography of action quite often, and I think it's really amazingly done. You get that sense of how Indiana Jones is battling that tank, where everybody is. I love Sala bringing the camels.
Yeah,
it said no camels. That's 5 camels. Can you count? And the way that he outwits the tank, there's obviously a little bit of crazy luck at one point.
He puts the stone in the
barrel of the gun.
Yeah, it's great. That bit.
The pen is mightier than the sword. I mean, we sort of mentioned it earlier.
So happy
when Henry goes to rescue Marcus, and they do their little thing. I don't know what that is, but I kind of know what it is. If you know what I mean, it's just
some bullshit from school.
Yes, exactly. I just think this is just a great scene, and the action in it is great. Obviously massively want that general to die, and he will die, and he does it like it is. I like that he is in the kind of miniature that they use to actually do the tank falling down the cliff and exploding.
Right.
There's a little miniature of him too getting crushed underneath the turret.
I really like olden day shots of bad guys about to die.
Yeah.
There's something brilliant about the rubbishness of the little second or 2 shot of him obviously green screened going just so good. I love it. Just melting faces that look a bit rubbish and green screen.
There is something about it.
About to die.
There's a warmth to it. I like how they just speak in German in the tank, but you can understand the plan all the time. That's good. And the plan at one point is so evil. Like there is like a car full of Nazi soldiers has got stuck on the front of the tank, and he's just like, just shoot it off.
Yeah.
Just spring in.
Spring in.
And they do, and then they crushed the car. And I did think, wow, there were some guys in there. They were like, your guys were in there. It's just a really, really great scene. There's a conveyor belt again, which was a little bit like Temple of Doom, obviously with the tracks of the tank.
I like it, again, storytelling within action. Somebody gets squashed so that we can tell when the good and bad guys later may get squashed.
Exactly.
Don't go on the tracks.
Yeah.
You can't get off unless you roll off or you have a whip.
Yeah.
And then you'll be fine.
It's good stuff. And then Petra. Yes, that is Petra in Jordan, which is... I mean, it's just such a ridiculous location.
It's unbelievable.
It is completely unbelievable.
The canyons and the leading up to it, like those sort of like valleys that you got cut into the cliff as well. I was very lucky to go to Jordan. I could have gone to Petra, but I didn't. But
I'm going to stay in my hotel this morning.
That's not what I did.
What did you do? He's taking some water on the stand.
Instead, we went to like... a less touristy place. Our Bedouin guide took us to a place where some other Bedouins were living in the desert, and I bought some jewellery and had some lovely tea.
Oh, nice.
That they had brewed.
Well, I've always been slightly annoyed at you for not going to Petra, mostly because of this film, I think.
It wasn't entirely my decision not to go to Petra. Everyone was like, should we go to Petra? It'll be really busy. Should we go here instead? And I was like, yeah, I'll just go where everyone else is going then.
Yeah. It's just a crazy, for a movie, it just seems like it shouldn't exist. It seems so fantastical and made up.
Yeah.
But it is really there, and it is cool, and it is the final resting place of the Holy Grail. In fact, we didn't know until this movie.
Until this film.
And the ultimate evil that Walter Donovan carries out by shooting Henry Jones and just making Indiana Jones go and get the Holy Grail.
I think making individual people walk through the booby trap place to try and find out how you get through the booby trap place is quite evil as well.
Pretty evil.
And that poor guy going through is like, I'm number however many it is. Just loads of disposable workers.
He says, though, can we next volunteer? You know, they're just volunteering. They're well up for it. They're like, Holy Grail, is
volunteer.
it? Oh, eternal life. Yeah, I'll give it a go. See, I don't know why nobody, seeing the heads perfectly severed from their body, I don't know why anybody doesn't think
there should have been one body which was, because the shocking thing when Indiana Jones goes through is that he ducks the first one and then immediately rolls and another one comes up from the ground.
Yeah.
And there should have been a couple which had just sliced like a cross section.
Yeah.
Like
someone got through the first bit, but then
right up the middle,
sideways. I do think that these booby traps aren't as terrifying as I want them to be.
That one should be like the penitent man. Also, do a forward roll really quick. Do you know what I mean? That clue is shit.
Yes.
Like if you're just crawling on your knees, like you cut in two.
Yeah. I don't think it's bad. Then there's the word of God.
The penitent man also do a forward roll.
Also,
if that was in a game, I'd be stuck and I'd be furious. Oh, that's the fucking solution, is it? Oh, well, that's not very clever, is it?
I quite liked saying penitent over and over again, like Henry Jones as well. Penitent, only the penitent man. Then the word of God, Jehovah, but in the Latin alphabet, Jehovah.
I had a friend who misquoted this at school, and we said the misquote forever. It was only a slight misquote. He just used to say, "You spelled Jehovah with an I."
Right. Okay.
But obviously, the full quote's slightly different.
Yeah, and that one's not great. It's not a great booby trap. Although I also don't know how everyone else following through knows what to do there.
It's a terrible booby trap for people who are used to the modern English spelling of Jehovah.
Yeah.
Because then they're fucked.
True.
It's like, oh, dickhead.
Back in the day, it would have been like, I've got to spell Jehovah. All right. I'm educated. I managed to get here.
Yeah.
And then the leap from the lion's head, which I always thought was amazing as a kid.
Same.
And I always look at it going, can I see it? Can I almost see it? Obviously, it's not really there.
No.
But I think that's great. But on this watch, I did think about Indiana Jones needing to find his faith, and did just think, you did see the Ark of the Covenant and all that stuff, if anyone can.
I ruined this almost for myself, just thinking, of course, from his perspective, you would be able to see that path because you can see it from some other perspectives and you just be able to move your head slightly. But I guess the point is that I thought it was, in the end.
It is low down though.
And what I settled on was the idea that this is a practical effects way of trying to show us something which
Right.
is uncanny,
Very
which is
true.
both there and not there,
Yeah.
and is visible and not visible at the same time. So shut up.
It's a great
my
bit,
brain.
and we haven't spoken about the music, but really in this movie, we should have. I really like the Grail theme, and the Ark has a theme which we love and we've talked about. I think the Grail has a theme that I love, and the way that he conveys this sense of the divine through it is just crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's through and meets an old knight, a 700-year-old man who
So
very
good.
quickly is bested
Yeah.
by himself
Yeah.
and is so noble and nice.
It's been there 700 years.
I feel so sorry for this guy.
Yeah.
Where I guess you once you drink from the Grail, you don't need to piss anymore or shit, and therefore
I just don't think they showed that. I think round the corner.
He's got just a room.
Well, if you
It's a
noticed, if he just pops out to the path
chasm.
of God, or he can just, it's a chasm.
Yeah.
He just fill that.
You've been shitting in them
Yeah,
in the path of God
yeah.
for 700 years. What's he been eating though?
Huh?
What's
Well, he
he
just
been-
drinks the Grail water.
Just drinks the Grail water.
Yeah,
Every
it's a
time he nearly dies of starvation, he heals himself with the Grail
Yeah.
water.
I did think it was funny that the Grail can give you everlasting life, but not any strength. Like he is just an old man forever. Like, I'm so weak. I'm so tired. I hate this.
And why can't the Grail move beyond the seal? And also, who did all those carvings?
Well, he's had a lot of time.
He has had a lot of time.
He's had a lot of time. When the other two brothers left him, he was just next to a cliff.
That's
And he
true.
was like,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
I might as well do something with my time
Wand
then.
and chisel.
Yeah. I enjoy that man very much.
He's
and
amazing.
And this was the first time where I really believed that Elsa chose poorly on purpose.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
There's a look with
There's a
Indiana
look,
Jones.
but I haven't always seen that look. You don't get the look until quite late on, and it seems so stupid to me that Donovan is
He's an idiot.
He's an idiot, and that he just trusts that she is.
Great cup. Okay, let's go.
Oh, that truly is the cup of a king of
So
kings.
beautiful, yes.
Yeah, blah 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 blah. I always say he chose poorly as well. I like.
My
saying that.
God, I mean, that's one of my favourite lines, and I don't
chose-
think I've ever enjoyed it more than this time.
Poorly.
I was just enjoying that whole performance, and the timing of it's so it's so British. It's so stinging with fucking with fuck you.
Yeah.
He chose poorly.
I used to have to shut my eyes at this bit as well as a kid.
I think it's an effect. Obviously, Rob's already mentioned it, the melting Nazi, but just deliberately designed to outdo or to compete with the Raiders one, and
Yeah.
I think it does. I think it's really, really fucking
It
strong.
is good, and it's horrible that he's got a grip of her. She can't get away from him. It just keeps going. He keeps his face rots.
It's like those. Do you ever get those like Play-Doh toys where you would like squeeze like a head and that it would make the hair by coming out
Yeah,
the
yeah,
top?
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
it always reminded me of. Just
yes,
like,
his hair growing long, and it's so horrible.
his nails.
He chose poorly,
Did choose poorly.
but
So I
Indiana
guess
Jones.
Indiana Jones is going to. He's immortal now because he's already.
No, I think you have to keep drinking from the. That's the
that's the vibe.
that's the. You said why can't the Grail pass the seal? I guess that's the rub, isn't
Because
it?
presumably that guy made the seal, so the seal wasn't there originally, and then
No.
he must have made that rule, or maybe he agreed it with God. Maybe he talked to God through the Ark, which is
I don't think he was near the Ark.
a raid. Well,
I think he must have just. He had a one-way conversation. He
Mm.
just prayed. But yeah, I mean, but I like that. I like that it needs a. You can't just be a cup of everlasting life that anyone can have. It needs an area,
An area of
it
effect.
needs a downside. The downside
Yeah.
is you have to live in this cave forever. So is that what you want?
Yeah.
It's
no one wants that.
It's great, and Elsa really wants that though. That is also quite stupid to me that she just ignores Indiana Jones. She ignores the knight and ultimately destroys.
She seems so excited. She starts running backwards with it.
Yeah,
It's stupid.
the scene
You've just seen the man become a Play-Doh monster. What are you doing?
I think the scene of Sean Connery or Henry Jones seeing the Grail, having been healed by it, is very touching.
The shot with the little look of recognition to the knight as well. That's
Yes.
great.
It's great.
That's good.
But the knight I feel so sorry for the knight.
I just told
he's
you
not
not
seen
to-
anyone for 700 years. He's built this whole place. He's been waiting. He's like, great, you've done it. You're here. You're going to take my place. I can rest now. There's a knight here who's going to protect the Grail. One rule. And then he comes out and he's just like,
what did I fucking say?
Everything's
Guys,
fallen apart.
Come on. Yeah.
you've just destroyed it all.
I thought
700 years.
But he didn't look that sad. Maybe he
What
was
a
like,
waste.
Maybe he was just zen.
He doesn't. He does a nice little wave.
And then the final shot in the film, some business before that.
One thing,
Yeah.
Indiana.
Oh, let it go. Dave.
Let it go.
Let it go.
I say this all the time.
It's
Indiana,
a
let it
great
go.
line. But I really enjoyed just the shot of them all riding off into the sunset. It's a fucking great shot.
Yeah. It was
It's lovely.
It is lovely. It's the end.
It's the end. I didn't change my mind about which order I enjoyed these films in, but
You're not supposed to tell us that now.
I enjoyed this one a lot.
Yeah. No, I didn't change the order in which I enjoyed this film either. This is my favourite one. It's fantastic. Good luck, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull or Dial of Destiny or whatever it is. But this for me is exactly right. And I do think it is the relationship with Indiana Jones and his dad that just, I think it's so right that it just elevates it to me.
In Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, though, don't we get to explore Indiana Jones's relationship with his son?
Well, no spoilers.
So we get to see Indiana Jones as a father.
Yes, and I imagine it will be just as good
Yeah.
as this.
I can't
experience.
wait.
Yes, I can't wait
Is it
either.
Shia LaBeouf?
We've done that thing. It's a bit like Aliens, or
Yeah.
not the Aliens movies, where a lot of the good ones are early on.
Yeah.
And then
There's only two more left.
there's
no?
only two left.
There's only two left.
Yeah.
And Rob's not seen the final one, right?
No, not seen Dial of Destiny.
You have seen Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, then?
Yes,
Right.
once at the cinema.
Same.
I thought it was great.
I didn't. I didn't share that. But that's
I'm excited to rewatch it. to be
That's
fair.
next week.
Yes.
As we continue our adventure with Indiana Jones, we'll be watching The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I don't even know if it's divisive. I think it might just be
Bad.
panned, hated, universally hated. But I'm excited to watch it with some fresh eyes and try and find the value in it. Definitely. But that's next week. So thank you for joining us this week. I hope that you like The Last Crusade. I'd love to read all the people who agree with me and think it's excellent. So please do leave us a comment on the Patreon or wherever you're listening. And it will make me feel warm inside, like I've drunk from the everlasting cup of life. Or life of cup. I don't know. I've gone wrong. Anyway, the end. You've been listening to Redshirt Cinema Club. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider supporting us on Patreon, where you can access 2 bonus episodes per month. And we'd love to hear from you. Send us an email to redshirtcinemaclub@gmail.com and perhaps you'll feature in our next mailbag episode. See you next week.